So welcome everyone to our Fierce Friday. We are February 10th, and welcome to the Million Mom Movement community. I am Taz Ferreira. I've been with the Million Mom community for the past 3 years or 2 years. It feels like forever. I don't know my life before the Million Mom Movement. And I've been partnered with Purium almost 6 years. And I'm joined by my fellow council members, Naiva Flori in Hawaii, Michelle Ricci, our newest member, and Carmela Velarde in Pennsylvania. And today we're going to be talking about emotional eating and shifting your relationship with food. Okay. And you know what? Our emotions with food comes on so many aspects. And starting the ULT is always a great way to regulate your nutrition, to regulate your hormones. And you know what? Upping your vitamin D, right? Because vitamin D, it's not even a vitamin, it's hormones. And what do we tell people when they're not feeling great? Well, you go outside and get the sun, right? And that's vitamin D. But how about looking at the nutrition in our body and what we're putting within and how that's making us feel? Before we get to our special guest on our incredible topic, let's talk about in the news. This is one of my favorite topics. So Carmela, if you can open us up with that would be great.
Thanks so much, Taz. Welcome, everyone.
Taz.
So I'm going to share screen, and I have 2 articles for you guys today. One that's in the New York Times. So you're going to have to use my password and my username, and I'll keep it up for 1 month. But I will share it in the chats, and let's go there. So how food may improve your mood. Now, these 2 articles, why I wanted to share them was, one, because they have really good studies of empirical evidence with a large group of people on how food may improve your mood. So we all know from our community, just like what Taz had said, that this superfood lifestyle, this Purium lifestyle, it really does help you to self-regulate your hormonal balance, your cravings. Now, how is it connected to then how we stress eat? Well, food is very comforting, isn't it? I think we can all agree in every culture that it's true, but higher levels of stress, depression, and anxiety this past year have turned so many people on to poor eating. And so many people are in a really poor state with their mental health. And it is from the favorite comfort foods like ice cream, pastries. So this article shares research known as nutritional psychiatry, which looks at the relationship between diet and mental health. And over the years, a growing body of evidence of research has provided intriguing hints about ways in which our food may affect our mood. And this is through how the microbes in the gut produce neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which regulate our mood and emotions. And the gut microbiome has been implicated in mental health outcomes. So in the Harvard Review of Psychiatry last year, quote, a growing body of literature shows that the gut microbiome plays a shaping role in a variety of psychiatric disorders, including major depressive disorders. I know many of you know this, but let's look at this study. So one study from 2016 followed 12,400 people for about 7 years. And they found that those who increased their consumption of fruits and vegetables during the study, they rated themselves substantially higher on questionnaires about their general levels of happiness and satisfaction with their health. So this observational study, however, correlates, not causation, which raises the question, which comes first? Does anxiety and depression drive people to choose unhealthy foods, or vice versa? Well, we kind of know the answer here, because we know that lifestyle is very much what can prevent disease. We just had cardiovascular episode just last week, and that's what we're in this month. And it is definitely connected to lifestyle. So the first major trial to shed light on the food-mood connection was published in 2017. And a team of researchers wanted to know whether dietary changes would help elevate depression. So they recruited 67 people who are clinically depressed and split them into groups. One group went into meetings with a dietitian who taught them to follow a traditional Mediterranean style diet. AKA our lifestyle meal list. So if you go to our lifestyle meal list, it does reflect very much a Mediterranean diet. And the other group, serving as a control group, met regularly with a research assistant who provided a social support, but no dietary advice. So at the start of this study, both groups consumed lots of sugary foods, processed meats, salty snacks, and very little fiber, which is clearly very much the standard American diet, and lean proteins, fruits, and vegetables. But the diet group made big changes. They replaced candy, fast food pastries with whole foods such as nuts, beans, fruits, and legumes. They switched from white bread to whole grain and sourdough bread. They gave up sugary cereals and ate muesli and oatmeal. Instead of pizza, they ate vegetables and stir fries. And they replaced highly processed meats like ham, sausages, bacon with seafood and small amounts of lean red meats. So after 12 weeks, average depression scores improved in both groups, which might be expected for anyone entering a clinical trial that provided additional support, regardless of which group you were in. But depression scores, they improved to a far greater extent in the group that followed the healthy diet. So let's just focus on that. So roughly a third of those people were no longer classified as depressed, compared to 8% of the people in the control group. So the results were striking for a number of reasons. One, the diet benefited mental health, even though the participants did not lose any weight. It was literally just the shift. So if everyone's so focused on weight, it's really not about that. It's addition and subtraction, but it's about what is it that you're adding in. So people also saved money by eating the more nutritious foods, demonstrating that a healthy diet can be economical. Before the study, the participants spent on average $138 per week on food. And those who switched to the healthy diet lowered their food costs to only $112 per week. So that's, I think, a really good talking point in how many people think it's expensive to be healthier. And the director of Food and Mood Center in Deakin University in Australia says mental health is complex, and they're studying more and more. Eating a salad is not going to cure depression, but there's a lot you can do to lift your mood, improve your mental health, and it is as simple as increasing your intake of plants and healthy foods. So I'd love for you guys to take a look more at this. There's one other article I can put also in the chat. I won't go all into it, but it is a study as well. And it was just released this past week about eating behavior, emotional regulation, impacting cardiovascular health. So this is Cardiovascular Health Month. So I thought this would be important for many people in this community, especially women who are in their menopause time or in hormonal, they're impacted with their hormones, because there is a study here that's published in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology. And it takes into account eating behavior, including emotional regulation skills and teaching. Please click on this link when you go there, because there are skills that we should, be aware of that you can use to balance emotional eating. So I'll put both of them in the chat there, and I pass the word on to you, Taz. Thank you.
What a great article. I love these articles because you know what? It solidifies everything we talk about on the call, right? If you encounter someone who says, you know what, eating healthy is too expensive. Well, is it really? $112 a week? I mean, I know people who spend more than that on Uber Eats, right? When you're ordering all the time, it adds up and you're not putting any nutrition in our bodies. So I would like you to put in the chat, put a 1 if you've ever emotionally eaten. I don't know how many ones I'm going to put. I'm putting many. I mean, let's just think about it. A promotion surrounded by food, right? A baby shower, you're surrounded by food. A breakup, you're surrounded by food. A birthday, you're surrounded by food. Food is the focal point of everything we're doing, right? Every emotion, from a happy emotion to a not so happy emotion. And do you turn to food for comfort when you're stressed? Yeah, I know if a lot of you grew up at the same time as myself. Whenever you would go to a breakup, it was, oh, go get a liter of ice cream, right? You would see those women sitting on the couch with ice cream and you would eat your emotions. How many times have we heard that? Eat your emotions, right? What does that really mean? Are we putting any nutrition into our body? We're just putting empty calories, right? And emotional eating can be tough to break, especially when this is learned behavior when we're younger. Did you guys think about that? When you're younger, all of these emotions are formed around food. I know for me growing up, if my mom made a cake that I loved that was delicious, and I was older, I always associated that happiness with that cake. Has that ever happened to any of you? Whatever emotion you had, the Fruit Loops, the cereal you'll have, those muffins, you'll associate to that moment in time, whether it be a happy feeling or not happy feeling, right? So why do we rely so much on food? And take control of our relationship with food to improve our emotional and physical well-being. So in the article that Carmela just shared, we were talking about anxiety, right? Where do you think anxiety is formed? And your serotonin, it's in your microbiome. Did you know that? Do you know how many psychiatrists I speak to every day, they don't even have this level of connection? They all still think it's in your brain. It's actually in your microbiome. This is why we talk so much about repairing your gut. We say it like a broken record, but what does it mean? It's absorbing nutrition. And to absorb nutrition, you need to repair your gut permeability because you can be eating as much salad as you want. If your gut is not repaired, none of those nutrition and minerals will be absorbed into your body. So when that article says you can't heal yourself by eating salad, well, you know what? They're right. First of all, it needs to be an organic salad, and you need to be having Biomedic, right? Okay, so I would love to introduce my guest, Tammy. She has an incredible story. And at the last 15 minutes of our call, she will be answering questions, okay? So write your comments, your questions in the chat, and also save it for the end. We can go back and we'll ask her questions, okay? Because I know all of you have tons of questions. So I want to introduce her the best way possible. So she's a health coach, and she's a Black Diamond in our incredible company. And you know what? We're very inclusive here, right? And she's a dog mom. Dogs suffer from so many things as well. And we are here to show you at the movement of many, we include all of you. So Tammy, I would love for you, you're unmuted, I see, to talk a little bit about your story, struggles, triumphant moments, and share with all of us. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Taz. I appreciate that. And the article choices and everything, you guys, you ladies are so informed and share that. It's beautiful. So yes, you know, I follow Dr. Gabor Mate on social media, and one of his recent reels struck a chord when I was thinking about this, that as humans, we need a sense of connecting, of meaning, of belonging, and of being part of something bigger than ourselves. To the extent that that's met, we thrive. To the extent that it's not met, we shrivel. So to one extent, in my childhood growing up, that was met when it comes to a spiritual life. However, in every other aspect of life, I didn't have that. And I had to create all of the roles I needed to survive from the age of 5. So I was in survival mode all the time. And the blueprint of my family was trauma and the standard American diet. So those cycles just kept going, and it was part of my DNA makeup. And eating was my medicine, but eating unhealthy foods. That was movie night, was buying as much candy as you could eat and eating until you're sick. Or going on a diet and binge eating the weekend before because you knew that on Monday you were going to go on a diet and be very restricted. Then at the age of 12, I had an emergency surgery that saved my life, but I was in the hospital on antibiotics for a week after to take care of all of the massive amount of infection that was inside. And from that point on, glyphosate was wreaking havoc in my system. And I started experiencing the brain fog, hormone imbalance, extreme pain, so many variables that the doctors would test me for things like endometriosis, for pancreatitis. They did exploratory surgery even to rule out these things, including stomach cancer. Just to be told that we can't find anything. So as you can imagine, the emotions going into a doctor saying, this is what we're going to test for, and then being told, no, this is not, we didn't find anything. There's such a roller coaster of emotions that come into play there. And I would turn to food to appease whatever emotion was going on. I would eat. So my health kept declining. And in 2019, on top of everything, even though over the years, I had tried to the best of my ability to look at things naturally, but there's so much out there. It was really hard for me on my own to figure out the direction. I hadn't heard about glyphosate. I hadn't really heard about excipients and fillers and colors and dyes. I didn't really know about that. And I would go to a naturopath, and she would suggest all of these supplements that worked for a time, but then would stop working because my body didn't recognize the ingredients. So I started having heart palpitations. I started having a pressure in my throat. The quality of my life diminished really quickly over the course of 3 months in 2020, right before the world changed. I went from being able to take care of everything to not even being able to drive myself to the store to go grocery shopping because I wasn't sleeping. And when I was sleeping, cortisol was shooting off in my body in the middle of the night. So it was causing panic attacks. During all of that time, I'd given up. So eating was what I turned to again. My doctor sent me to a specialist, and the endocrinologist diagnosed me with hyperthyroid. And at that same time, the world shut down and I lost all streams of income. So when I was at home alone, when the pandemic assistance kicked in, when food stamps kicked in, I went crazy making recipes, all of the recipes that I could think of. And I was by myself, so it didn't matter. I was experimenting, and that's how I was connecting with social media, making a little cooking show, gardening. And I was told that because of what I was experiencing, medicine, going on and off medicine and their side effects were going to be what happened for me for the rest of my life. And sure enough, those side effects kicked in. And one of them was that I was insatiably hungry. I had already spent my whole life feeling hungry. I never felt full. And so on top of that, it was just like, wow. So 1.5 years of experiencing that, a friend reached out to me who I trusted because she'd been helping me with natural modalities to just get me through each day. And she started talking about the gut-brain connection and the ULT. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? You're the healthiest person I know. Why are you talking about this? And so I reached out to her and asked her. And so she told me, and I said, well, send me the ingredients, because by now I understood about ingredients. And I could see that it was all just food. And I thought, this is something I can do. So she started June 1st of 2021. And I said, I'll start with you. I came to a free informational Zoom, something similar to this, but maybe a little bit more tailored to just the components. And it struck a chord because the ladies that were talking, I could tell by what they were sharing that they had some of the similar experiences that I'd had in life. And I thought, okay, if they're human, if it worked for them, it's going to work for me. And this is food. And when I decided to get started, they asked me if what I was doing for work. Unbeknownst to them, they didn't know that I had lost my work. They didn't know that it wasn't fully recovered. They didn't know that I was experiencing, like, I don't know what I'm going to do because pandemic assistance was running out. My work isn't fully recovered. I was trying the whole 1.5 years to figure out how I could not have all my eggs in one basket, but that didn't require a lot of investment or education or so much time. And they told me, with what you purchased today, you can start your business if you're coachable, if you're willing to plug into trainings and work with us as a team. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I thought about it for 2 days and I decided to give it a try. And I'm so glad I did, because the transformation that's happened in my body, the ULT is the changing point in my life when it comes to health, because within 2 days, I woke up from the best night's sleep I'd ever had. So that's one. In 6 days, I realized I don't feel in pain like I was before. I had been feeling like I was hit by a truck. That's 2. 6 weeks, my endocrinologist realized the shift that was taking place. And she said, you need to stop taking your medicine. It's going to harm you more than help you at this point. And every 3 months, I go back to her and she's like, I don't need to really see you anymore because you don't need your medicine anymore. The value of good nutrition and helping our gut microbiome to repair itself is so vital. And so I went from this shift of living my life, experiencing bad health and using food as my medicine of choice, bad choices of food, to only identifying now with feeling healthy and realizing the food that I put in my mouth, how is it serving me? How is this nourishing my body? And really looking at the ingredients and noticing a shift take place. I had always been, for lack of a better term, I'd always been a carnivore. Like full on, I had always done the keto diet. Meat was a big staple in my life. And with the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation, as Carmela brought out, it adds to so much of the inflammation and so much of the tax that's on our body. I've been able to transition to vegan or vegetarian, which is so surprising. I never thought in a million years that's something that I could sustainably live on and know that I'm getting absolutely everything I need from the food that I eat.
Wow. So this was like, this fell into your life at the perfect time.
Yes, it totally did. Well, and the other part of it too is that as a business, it, like, within my transformation was visible. The friends and family that saw me, they're like, what are you doing? You're going from looking like you're on death's door to having this glow on your face, and you're laughing and you're back into like the Tammy that we've been missing. And so I naturally shared on social media, and within 6 months my business grew to the point where I was making almost the same amount as I had my most successful year in my previous profession, and it took me 5 years to get there. So with that small amount, so the transformation has been like complete for me, and it's just continued to grow.
Wow, I love that. And you know what? I would like to bring you back to when you were 12 and you were
Okay.
saying you went in for your antibiotics, right? This is a time that you're becoming a teenager. There's hormone imbalances. I mean, your body is changing so much on the cellular level, right?
Oh my goodness, yes. And that is actually when I came out of the hospital from that surgery, is when my first cycle started. And it was extremely painful and extremely, like, from that moment on, it was all over the place. My hormones were never balanced.
And you see, right. And
Yeah.
you say hormone balance. Do you guys hear? The balance is the key. The body needs the nutrition to keep in balance. I hear this word all the time, but I feel not a lot of doctors, anyone, naturopath, they're making this connection with understanding that the hormones, okay, this means they need to up nutrition. This means their body needs a certain another level of minerals to be in balance. Why is it in balance? Are we not questioning that? Why are we just suppressing it with medication?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I'm super, I talk about all of the emotional aspects of things and then the medicine of things, even the fact that I was a year and a half on medicine for my thyroid. That has also done a number on my health, on my organs. I'm still detoxing from that. And I'm so thankful I have the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation. We talk about how this is a lifestyle. It's for a reason. There's no way that in 30 days or 90 days that you can get back to ground zero if you've had 3 decades of not being there.
Thank you so much for saying that, because a lot of people think, you start your first 30 days and you'll have all of these like miraculous results, but at least 90 days is the best way to start. And I mean, this is a lifetime of growth, of changing. It's not a magic pill, right? This is nutrition.
It's absolutely right. And it's also about choices. When there is trauma of any sort that happens in life, if you don't face it, and if you don't look at it for what it is, you're not gonna ever change that cycle. It's just gonna keep continuing. Nutrition is the base that helps you to be able to be healthy enough in your mind to realize, oh, this is what I need to do next. And then search for the tools to help you to be able to achieve that. Purium is amazing because Dave and Amy, they pour into us educationally. They provide mentoring. If we're wanting it, they provide it. But also hiring a life coach if you need to get through those layers of things that are like hanging out underneath the surface and affecting all of that as well.
Right. And now that your like mind-gut connection can actually flourish and starts repairing, now you have the ability to hire a life coach.
Exactly. And I asked her, can you please type up exactly what it is that you do? And she says that she is a stress release specialist that assists individuals in learning a shortcut approach to reprogramming from negative mental experiences and beliefs to a healthier, proactive belief by means of neuroplasticity and the use of visuals to upgrade our mind's ability to be aware of healthier options for personal success. And that personal success, it transcends through absolutely every single aspect of your life. When you have personal success, you're going to have business success. You're going to have relationship success. Your spiritual life is going to be a success. Everything is going to be a success.
Right. So you're talking about a whole life transformation here.
Yes. Yes.
I love that. There's something else that you mentioned that I wanted to talk about. You said, and I never felt full.
It's so true. I never did. I was constantly, it was tied into childhood, but yeah, it was constantly a matter of I could eat as much as I wanted to. And I was like, well, that was great. Now the next meal. It wasn't until I had the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation on board and the repair of the gut microbiome with the Biomedic and then approaching things emotionally too, figuring out what it was that was triggering that, but the combination of the two that started making that change.
And I love that you say that, because you can't just do one by itself. You can't just take Biomedic by itself. This is why we talk about it as a complete package with the gut repair, the sleep repair, the pure protein. Everything works synergistically.
Yes, it does. Yes. I was even reminded of this on a call the other day. A person was talking about how she was trying to piece together the things that she wanted and she wasn't really getting the results. And so finally, her health coach helped her to understand you just really need the ultimate lifestyle transformation. And once she started using, she used the illustration, it was like she was trying to build the 10th floor of a high-rise building without building the foundation. That the ultimate lifestyle transformation is the base. It's not the only nutrition we eat, but it's the base nutrition that our bodies need. And they're made in such a way that they respond. And then we're able to add in all of the other things that our bodies need to keep building what it is that our bodies need.
Absolutely. I love that. Well, I'm going to have another guest on. Thank you so much, Tammy. Stay here. We're going to be taking Q&A before the hour ends. And I would love to have Genesis on. If you can come on and unmute. She has an amazing story as well. There you are.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
And she deals with emotions, and she has such a beautiful story. So if you can share a little bit about your story, Genesis.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Genesis, and yeah, my story is basically, it's kind of similar to Tammy's. I was an emotional eater, and I didn't even realize it until I did something about it. So growing up, we were really poor, and my mom, she couldn't really afford too much. So in order to like treat us or, you know, celebrate, we would have like terrible food. We would have like sweets and things like that. Yeah, and she got it from like government food benefits. So there was never really any healthy options at home. And I don't know, I always felt like when I ate something sweet, I was giving myself love. And I didn't realize until I went vegetarian, probably like when I was 14 or 15, that I was just feeding the bad bacteria in my gut. And so I had always been a little bit different from everyone else in my family. So I did go vegetarian. I was dealing with like a lot of trauma and a lot of abuse from my stepdad and just a lot of things. You know, we all go through things when we're growing up. And yeah, I went vegetarian. I still wasn't eating healthy. I was still eating all the junk food. I was really depressed. Of course, I was a little bit overweight too from eating all the junk that wasn't good for me. And yeah, I didn't really know how to break out of the cycle. I've heard of like veganism and all these like health gurus and all that kind of stuff. And I would try things out, but I don't think my mindset was there yet. And so, as they say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And so I had a mental breakdown. I cried, and I was like, I'm ready to like shift from this mindset of like being the abused one and, you know, just being the one who's the victim and broken all the time into like the person who I want to become. And so one day on Facebook, I saw an earth angel, and she was sharing like her plates, and her skin looked amazing. And then I found out she was like 36 or something like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I thought she was my age. I'm in my 20s. So anyways, then she shared the ULT with me, and I actually did the ULT. I did it the first time that I did it. It wasn't 100% perfect, but I felt better. And so I feel like that was the start of me seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, right? After my second ULT, that's when I started to actually take it a little bit serious, because I had struggled up until then. I was struggling with like binging and restricting. Like I would binge on alcohol, on food, anything to fill the void within me. And obviously, like I said, that wasn't working. So yeah, after the second ULT, it just really shifted, like the energy around me, my aura changed. It was like I cried several times, and I'm not a crier. I cried several times after that second ULT. I lost so much weight. I started feeling better. Even my partner, he noticed a change in me. My mom noticed a change in me. And I feel like I have a healthier relationship with food. I eat about 80% raw living foods now. And of course, I'll supplement with Purium because it just makes me feel so amazing. And I do agree with Tammy that it's sort of like the baseline. This is like your intro, like here you go. Now go out and make sure that you are aligning, like whatever you put in your body should be aligning with what you want your future to look like for yourself. Because as Shane Sterling says, he's like one of my favorite coaches. If you are not focused on your future, then you are defaulting to the pain of the past. And so I feel like that's something that I had to learn now that stopped me from binging and restricting and like hating myself and getting into that really depressive mode that I was in. The no sleep, the high anxiety, the not trusting myself, just the negative thoughts and everything has really like shifted now. Thanks to doing the ULT a couple times. But yeah, so now I feel like I've regulated my emotions enough that I'm able to listen to what I need. And what I need isn't eating a whole bunch of sugar. What I need is to focus on what my vision is for my life. Sorry. There we go. So yeah, that's kind of like my story. I'm not the best at telling my story, but there it is.
Genesis, you are beautiful storyteller. I love the way you say your story. So authentic, so real, so who you are. We can really feel your soul. Thank you so much. And you know, when you're talking about, like, I hear so much mindset in both of your stories. That mindset was key to this. And starting the ULT plus Immune, because this is your baseline and the foundation, this actually allowed you to now have more mental clarity and have awareness what you're putting into your body.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I forgot to mention, I have ADHD and I'm autistic. And so I feel like that plus everything that I was going through really, yeah, kind of, it wasn't really, it was kind of hard to get to mental clarity. But after the second ULT, I'm telling you, that second one hits different from the first. But yeah, I was able to focus on what it is that I wanted. I felt more in tune with myself and what I needed. So absolutely, yes, it did help with mental clarity.
Beautiful. Okay, so now I'm going to open it up to the field to ask questions, because I know you guys have a lot of questions for these two women. So unmute yourself, raise your hand. You can just go at the bottom where it says reactions, and you can raise your hand and we will unmute you. There you go, Melissa. Go ahead.
Thank you. Tammy, may I use your testimonial as one of my testimonials that I want to share on my Instagram? Because it's so powerful. I feel like it will really resonate with a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Okay,
That
perfect.
is, yeah, that's the whole
Thank you.
reason
I
I
appreciate
share.
it.
Yes. If that
And if you guys-
motivates someone else, that is wonderful. Yes.
If you two want to write your handles, your Instagram handles in the chat. So if someone wants to connect with you, please do that. We have any other questions? Does any of my council member have any questions for these two ladies? Oh, Chantel, I see that you have your hand up.
I'm not one of your council, but I did have a question. So I have very similar stories to both of these gals, and I wanted to validate what they were saying because I'm studying to become a holistic lifestyle nutrition coach out of Australia. I live in Montana, but the coaching that I'm doing is overseas. Mainly because there's not enough information provided here in the States to help in the way through nutrition like we should have. So my biggest obstacle that I've been trying to get through is when something major that affects like family or friends emotionally comes up. And I'm only going through like my second ULT right now, and I've noticed some changes. The first one really didn't do much. So what Genesis said is true for me. but when there's obstacles, like I know keeping with the program is good, but is there any additional help that you use, either Purium or otherwise, that helps you when there's a specific obstacle that comes up in your life that you were blindsided by?
Did you want Genesis or me? I'm sorry, I didn't hear who you were directed to.
Either or, whoever has information as to what they do, and there's an obstacle that comes up in your life that you weren't expecting, like what else do you do?
I'll start. I adopted a dog during the pandemic. That's why I'm a dog mom, and he adopted me. So I take him on a walk. We'll go to the beach. I've learned how to juggle. I love, because of the stress that's been on my body from bad health, I have to go at this slow. I used to work out all the time, and now my body's like, whoa, Nelly. But I love to do Pilates. That will reset me. I love, we hear from Leslie Zann, waking up in the morning. I choose joy and gratitude every single day. That's how I start my day. That's how I've started my life. And through everything, I've decided to choose that, but even more so. And I have so much to be grateful for. So I stop that trigger and realize, you know what, that was the old me that responded to that. How am I going to be proactive, and how am I just going to move on from that? So yeah, all of those things.
Thank you. That helps.
Genesis, you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I was gonna say when life goes haywire and something just comes out of left field, for me it's just really important. Maybe this will help you, but for me it's really important to like move through the emotion versus trying to distract from the emotion, because that's what gets pushed down. If we don't deal with it now, it's gonna come up later. So for me, sometimes it's a little bit hard to express my emotions, so I allow myself to just sit in silence and just think about it and sit in that emotion. Other times, because it's hard for me to cry, I like to go to spaces with water, like a nice shower to contemplate, or going to the pool, or something to deal with water to help me move through the emotion of whatever the trigger is or whatever the event was.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that, Genesis.
And I really love how Tammy just slipped that in about the juggling. Yvette.
So I wanted to ask how we could share Tammy's experience on our Instagram, her testimonial, how we would go about doing that.
You can reach out and we can schedule a live if you would like to, or you can screen record excerpts of this recording if you would prefer to do that.
Very good. And then my other question was, the person that you said that you talked to, that you read her description of her job description, was she willing for you to share her information?
I don't know. I'll have to reach out to her. She's a very busy lady, so I will ask her.
Okay, I didn't know if she maybe did that, if it was what she did for as her profession. So
it is, but she's also very busy, so I will ask her. And we're connected through Instagram, yeah. So I'll give it to you if she is.
Thank you so much. And I had one last question. The young lady that shared the schooling that she was doing in Australia, can she put that information in the chat?
Yes, I'll do that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions? Oh, yes, I see. Patty.
Okay, cool. Thank you. You ladies are so inspiring. I wanted to respond to, excuse me, Melissa. No, Chattel, excuse me. Leslie Zan encourages using and knowing how to use the tracker that is now on a landing page in the Purium portal, using it and just being aware of your own, what are you doing? And writing down anything written down statistically has a chance of coming to fruition. And so being that we speak our, you know, what are we doing every month? We declare, we make our declarations, we do the same daily, so that tracker is something to really use. And it, you know, it's just a very small intention that has a big impact. So tips, pro tips from Leslie to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patty. You know, when you write things down, it really materializes. I'm curious to know, did any of you two ladies have journal entries that you would do?
Oh, yes. I forgot to mention that. In fact, I don't even know how many journals I have now since I started Purium. I've have always been encouraged to journal, and I have started and stopped all my life. And now I have like a shelf of journals now, not just to express the emotions, because as Genesis said, of like letting the emotion, like experiencing them and not burying them, but also as a way of dreaming too, of dreaming what I'm gonna experience in the future, making that be something that's a part of my now.
How about you,
For me,
Genesis?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not too much of a journaler. For me, it's audio. So like I'll do audio clips of how I'm feeling for the day. For those of you who don't like writing, if you have an iPhone, you can just go on voice memos. I love doing that, and also sometimes doing like vision boards and stuff like that. So throughout my journey, I've had several vision boards of what I want my future to look like, even if I felt like it wasn't possible. Now I know it is possible because whatever you put your mind on is possible. So yeah, my thing is like those two, voice memos and videos.
I love that. That's so important. You know, as if you can just get it out, however you can get it out, because that is part of the whole process, right? You're writing your emotions, you're connecting to your awareness. And I love how both of you share that the first ULT, it wasn't successful, right? You had to do it again. You can't just do it one time and think you're going to have this magic happen, right? You have to flow through the emotions, and something's happening. You don't even know. Something's being unlocked within. You'll only start seeing it by the second, third, ongoing months, right?
Absolutely. In fact, I don't do the cleanser every month, but I stay on 2 shakes a day. I live on the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation plus Immune for my health personally. I notice the difference if I go down to 1 or none.
I want to add to what Tammy says. I have a power shake every day on my way to work, and it always makes me feel like super good. I feel like if I don't have my power shake first thing in the morning, then I didn't do something right.
Right. I like how you guys incorporate into your daily life, like brushing your teeth.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
One of our council member has a question. Go ahead, Carmela.
Yeah, thank you so much. And these stories were so relatable and so shareable as well. So I hope you guys do get inspired. Starting this past January, you know, my team has been doing the reset for 90 days. And I volunteered to teach mindfulness every Tuesday at 11:11 for my team. And I thought, well, what area could we support? But mindfulness is a really big part of emotional eating. And so I made some notes. I've been doing weeks and weeks of sort of specifically focusing on mindfulness. And there's this one list, mindfulness tools for binge eating. I just wanted to quickly share because I felt like it's, you know, exactly on topic. I was actually inspired by the topic to create this specific list. But mindfulness is a non-judgmental self-awareness, and it's an inner wisdom that we need to tap into. So I did put in the chat of meditation. So if you guys want to just go into it later, just click on it. But we really want to encourage 15 minutes, 10 minutes even of meditation, because it really brings you into that control of your mind and where you're checking in with yourself, your inner guide. The second is mini checking in right before you eat. And it's just 1 minute before you eat, the mindfulness of that. How are you feeling? And self-comparison. Mindfulness is the antidote to judgment. And I think all of us judge our thoughts and we say, it's not good, we're guilty. So immediately it is a big component is mindfulness. Interoceptive awareness. So this is about listening to when you're tuned off and when you're tuned on. Are you tuned in when you're eating, or are you tuned out? So many people don't check in with that, and hunger is actually a signal. So are you listening to when you're hungry? So number 4 is actually feeling hunger versus fullness. You asked that question, Taz, and I thought that was really relevant, because are you full? Are you hungry? And when we're on the cleanse, I think it's so perfectly timed that after 2 hours, you are hungry. After the 5 aminos, your flex food, 2 hours later, you literally feel like, I need a shake. So listen to what that feels like and literally let that be your guide to how you feel when you're eating whole foods too. So have a scale of 10 to 1, 1 being the least hungry, 10 being the most, and where are you? Like, start really checking in with where you are. Diets are outer wisdom. This is not a diet. We're teaching lifestyle, which is a very unique way of teaching nutrition, I find, because most people are really into these sort of scams of biohacking, ways to turn on your body to not feel hungry. Well, that's not what we're teaching here. And that's what in mindfulness, I was really wanting my group to listen, is that listen to your sensitivity that's being created with this program, with this absorption for your gut health. Another thing is taste scale. Do you pay attention to the taste? Just the same as hunger and fullness. So I have this tool that's called Food Yoga, and it's going to be put into our Sad to Rad flip book that's about to be launched for our Lunch and Learn. And Food Yoga is teaching people to really enjoy the experience of eating and taste. And how powerful is it, bite to bite? And then the last thing I just want to say is the root cause. What is creating these vicious cycles to begin with? Are you clear? Like the journaling aspect, can you journal where the root of these emotions are that create this loss of control, this tuning out? Why are you tuning out? And I'm complete. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you so much, Carmel. That was amazing. And you know what? Just to understand, to use this mindfulness, not just on ourselves, but if you can hear these 2 women's stories, it started when they were much younger, right? Tammy started at 12 and Genesis started as a very young child, you know? So if we can start bringing these tips to our children to start connecting, how do you feel when you're eating that? How does it make your body feel? Maybe what emotion they're attaching to that food, because this is going to stay with them for the rest of their life. So if we can start getting to the root cause as young as possible and making them aware what they're eating is making them feel whichever way, imagine what we can do, right? This could be a lifetime of, they don't have to go through these traumas, right? Oh, Michelle.
Hi, what a great call. Thanks to everyone. I just love this idea of mindful eating, especially in relation to eating based on our emotions. There's a beautiful practice of setting your fork or spoon down as you savor and bring presence to each bite of food. Like, it can be a real practice where you're having reverence before you eat, thanking everybody from the person who planted the seed to whoever handled it off of the farm, to the person who stocked it on the shelves, to the person that cashed you out, and just blessing them and their family. And then also going back a step further, when we prepare our food, are we arguing with our loved ones? Are we in a hurry? Like, all of this can really help shift and bring attention and presence to what emotions we are displaying when we're eating and associating with eating. And removing those things can just bring us to the absolute present moment, set our fork down, chew our food, and really be swallowing love and joy and gratitude. And that's can also really support us in having a healthy body.
That's
Thank you so much. And it's all true. You know, it starts with our mind. It starts what we're putting in our mouth. It starts with mindfulness. I think this is something that we're all understanding here. So this is going into the perfect transition to next week in our Lunch and Learn. We are going to be talking about the standard American diet to our Radiance Activation Diet, right? And we don't even like this word diet because you know why? There's that word die inside. We don't even believe in that. This is a lifestyle and showing you can do it. It takes time, but it can be accomplished because we were all junk food eaters. We grew up on this lifestyle, right? We know how we used to feel. We never want to feel that way. Okay, so, and bring awareness. So let's go into our call to action to Naiva Flori in Hawaii to talk about the toxicity in our foods.
Sorry, I forgot to unmute. Let me go get my right screen to share with you all. And yeah, this is something that we love to share about every week. It's a really important topic, and we love to have this call to action and have you all participate with us. So most of you know that we've been reading from the Detox Project, this incredible article where you can find so much great information about the different foods that are highly toxic. And so where we go is under reports. I'm going to go here, I have my little shortcut already. So you scroll to the bottom of the reports, and here you have the top glyphosate residues found in major brands and stores and health food store. So we've actually gone through this list over the past year or so. Every week we've called out each one of these brands. And so you can see the parts per billion that they contain. You can see what store they come from and what brand we're coming from for each one of these specific foods. So we're actually at the bottom of this second list where it's protein powders and shakes. So we're on number 9, think high protein bars and chocolate crisp. So I'm going to go over to Instagram. Our call to action is to really just give a call to action to the companies that have glyphosate contamination inside of their food. And what we're asking them to do is to, first of all, bring this to their awareness if they're not aware of it, and to ask them to start making a difference. So right here on the second post, it's the first, I think it's the first reel, I'm not sure. Anyway, second post in with all these Thinks brownie bars, I went ahead and created this post to show you what we're asking you to do. So put this into your own words with your own genius. You can go ahead and tag the Million Mom Movement so they know you're associated with us and our community. But it has been brought to our attention that Thinks high protein bars, chocolate crisp, 14 parts per billion of toxic herbicide glyphosate. Per the Detox Project report, we have been unable to reach the company to address this issue. And as a group of concerned parents, as the Million Mom Movement, we would like to see Think remove the ingredients containing glyphosate. So make this your own. And to take it a step further, you can also take a screenshot of this, share it in your stories, and tag the Million Mom Movement so that we can also share that in our stories and help bring awareness to the entire field. So thank you so much for sharing that. I'm going to go ahead and drop that in the comments here as well so that you can screenshot it and come back to it later. Back to you, Taz.
Thank you so much, Naiva. You know, the more we do this and we bring this awareness to people of the foods that we're eating, that we're giving our kids, that we're consuming every day, has this toxic chemical. And it might not hurt you right away, but it bioaccumulates. And then you get worse issues. So let's end this call with our beautiful pledge. Does anyone want to read our pledge? Raise your hand. Or we are going to choose one of you to read our pledge.
I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm on. Okay. I pledge to defend the health of myself and my family. I pledge to choose organic foods that are minimally processed and free of man-made ingredients. I pledge to read labels and educate myself on all aspects of clean living. I understand that my actions today will positively impact the health and environment of future generations. I am committed to sharing this movement of many. I am Million Mom Movement.
Thank you so much. It was so beautifully read. So reach back to the person who invited you to this call and thank them. Okay. And visit us on Facebook, the Million Mom Movement Facebook group, and come and see us every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, and invite your friends and family to this call. Caregivers, mommies, kids, you are all welcome. This is a community for all. We are here to educate, to be together, to show you there's no wrong in doing anything. And please follow us on Instagram, Million Mom Movement. You can hashtag us. We have a couple hashtags there, Million Mom Movement. I am the Million Mom Movement, and we are the Million Mom Movement, because we are doing this together. We are the activism arm of Purium, and we will not settle for anything less than the best for ourselves and our family. And again, reach out to the person who invited you to this call and see us on Wednesday during the Lunch and Learn, where we will be talking about SAD to RAD. So if you don't know where to find that yet, message the person who invited you to this call and they will give you the link. So thank you all for today's call. Have a beautiful weekend. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.